a sense of community where you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me.
Hi everybody, this is Nancy Guitar. Obviously you can't see me, but I am behind the camera. And the reason why is because I'm going to let my guests do most of the talking, although I will interject with some questions. So, Miel, you want to start, please?
Hi, I am Miel Bernstein, co-founder of Project AIM.
I'm Elina Kurahashi, a co-director of Project AIM.
And we're here today to do something a little bit different. We want to talk to you a little bit about what is menstruation.
Well, before you do that, would you mind explaining about Project AIM?
Absolutely. So we've been an organization and now a not-for-profit running in our community for 3 years. And we provide free menstrual products, barrier-free and no charge, as well as incontinence products. And that's how we started, was by giving lots of products away. And now we've really evolved, and one of our passions and the things that we do more is menstrual education. And so we're here to do a little bit about that today.
Okay, so you were just about to start when I interrupted you about what menstrual is all about.
Menstruation. Awesome. Let's do it. So I actually brought right from the dictionary definition to start with, and then we'll break it down a little bit and make it more. Part of it is that we want to make these things shame and stigma free and encourage questions and curiosity. So the definition that I found, although there's many, is the regular discharge of blood and mucosal tissue from the inner lining of the uterus through the vaginal canal. The menstrual cycle involves the rise and fall of a variety of hormones. Menstruation is a sign that there is no fertilized egg or pregnancy. So that is a very basic definition of what it is. But let's talk a little bit about how that works, because I'm amazed at how many people don't even understand how or why this process takes place. Do you have any questions about it, Nancy?
Well, I was just going to say, is when does menstruation normally start?
I love that you asked normally, because honestly, there's such a big range for all of the processes around menstruation. So usually in the sort of tween years, so 11, 12, 13, but as early as 6, 7, 8, or as late as 15, 16, 17, just depending on the body and the situation. Okay. So the very easiest to show you is with our beautiful Yudi here, our squishable, awesome Yudi. So the eggs are produced here in the ovaries, and then they come down the fallopian tubes. And if there is a fertilization, then a baby or fetus grows inside here. But if not, so the lining of the uterus here in the middle is basically this perfect place to grow a baby. And if there's no fertilized egg or pregnancy that's happened, then every single approximately month, but again, there's a big range in how often this would happen for a body, will shed the entire lining of the uterus, and it discharges through the vaginal canal, and that is what we call the period, or the blood and the menstrual fluids that we see.
Why do you think there's such a stigma regarding menstruating?
In a word, the patriarchy.
Totally. Yes.
Yeah, I heard. I don't know if I should say this on camera, but I heard that in the Jewish Orthodox religion, when a woman is menstruating, she's considered unclean. Mm-hmm. I find that so offensive.
Many of the more what's the word I'm looking for? Many of the more stricter sides of religion. So all religions across the world seem to have that same kind of stigma around women being unclean. It is definitely true in Judaism. That's actually my core religion, although I don't really follow it as a religion anymore, but that's my tradition. But also, we see that women are considered unclean while menstruating across the board, it seems. So I think there's a lot of fear around the power that women have to create birth.
Yes.
Honestly, because they are the creators of the future generations, no matter what. So I think there's some fear around that. I think there's some misunderstanding about how the process works, and so because it involves blood and bodily issues, we've kind of removed ourselves from that as a society. And I think the reason why we do this is we want to educate people, because honestly, it's super cool what the body does. Yes. Basically, it's just creating a spot in the body to house a perfect pregnancy. And if not, it creates it it renews itself every single month. Like, how cool is that?
Right. I'm off the topic a little bit because I'm just thinking about, the way a lot of men feel about women menstruating. Yet they're the same women. These are their mothers, their sisters, their daughters, their wives, their aunties, the women that they have intercourse with.
That's right.
So it doesn't make much sense, really, when you think about it.
Absolutely, none of us would be here if it wasn't for this process of menstruation.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just like, and so how to me, it's just like a wonder.
Yeah.
Right.
So moving on, because I know you have a lot of products that you brought that you're going to show today, which is really good. So who's going to start, and what are you going to start with?
So I think what we want to talk about too is there is this massive range of products to take care of ourselves when we're menstruating. And it used to be, back in the day, my mom talks about how they used to have a belt.
Oh yes, I went through that.
And they attached some kind of a pad to these, to these belts. Like, how cumbersome and uncomfortable. So I just need to say, we have come a long way since those days. And we're going to go through and talk about the range as quick as we can. And hopefully you have some kind of fun questions about them as we go.
Okay. It's interesting that you mentioned the belt, because so I went through my menstrual education around 30 odd years ago, and at the time the most common products were the conventional pads and tampons, but in our menstrual education class they were still teaching us about belts.
Wow.
That you couldn't even buy at the time. And we were like, why are we learning about this?
I'm sure I heard about that too. Because I'm sure then I asked my mom and she told me, and I was like, what?
Yeah. In my mom's day, they didn't even have those. They had cloths that they reused, cleaned and washed and cleaned, like cloth diapers, the same idea. So,
and things come around again, because we do now have washable and reusable options available. So let's dive in. So let's talk a little bit about we call them typical products. So the products that you would generally find at your store. And so those are going to be your typical tampons and pads. But maybe we'll start with pads first. If you want to show a little bit of those.
So this is your typical pad. I think this is a Kotex brand. Packaging has come a long way, even since when I was a teen, because it used to be a separate thing. Now it is all in one piece, and then you just peel it off from here and place it on your underwear. And then there's the wings that go around the edge of your underwear to protect it. Like this.
Wow, how convenient.
Yeah, and then they stick around, right?
And then when you're done, this is designed so that you put this on here and you roll it up, and hopefully it goes into the menstrual disposal unit that all of the bathrooms should have, right?
Right.
So there's a range in these typical, from tiny panty liners. So for those days, maybe you just have a little bit of discharge, or you're the beginning or end of your menstrual cycle, to people who have a heavier flow, to folks who want night pads that are really large. So there is a massive range. And there's a big range of materials that they're made from. We created a guide to menstrual products here at Project AIM, and this is available for free for anybody. And we talked a little bit about all the products and the pros and cons of them. Okay. So these typical pads are probably what lots of folks start with. They're quite, they're easy to use. They're not scary in any kind of way. And so The cons to these perhaps might be if you're a very active person. For me, I'm a horseback rider. These do not stay in place and they wad up and become quite uncomfortable. Same with maybe biking or running, although they have become better over time. And then possibly the materials they're made with. So might they have dyes or sort of toxic compounds to them? And putting them close down in that area can be problematic for a lot of reasons. We'll talk probably a little bit more about that as we go.
Right.
But pros and cons to pads, and that's kind of where we're at with those. And then the next most common thing that people would know about are typical tampons. So let's dive into those, because actually I had no idea how many people are even have never tried to use them or were shamed about using a tampon as a young person. Why might people be shamed about? Does anyone have any ideas about that?
Well, if it's because one of the things that I remember hearing is like if you haven't been sexually active yet, you know, that if you're using them now, people are going to think that now you're active. Like,
right.
There's not a lot of logic to it, but
absolutely, there is fear, especially amongst religious groups, that possibly tampon use removes virginity or will alter the hymen. And that is just not the case. They're very, very tiny. So we'll talk a little bit about, Elina will talk a little bit about that here while I'm going to demo a tampon after. So
okay. Yeah, I could not. One of the problems for me with the tampons, I used to get a lot of bladder infections, and the doctor told me to stop using the tampons because in my particular case, it caused me to have bladder infections.
Right.
So the hymen, a lot of people think that it's like a closed, like thing that you then tear during your devirginification process. There are many different, as you can see here,
shapes,
styles.
Yes. Yep, natural, all naturally occurring different shapes and hymen.
So some are entirely closed, some are like around the perimeter of the vaginal canal. All of them are normal. So
some folks don't have one at all.
Yeah,
that's visible.
All right, okay. Yeah.
They're just there's massive variations, and the way a person lives, how active they are, all of these things might affect how they are having or not having a hymen. Is no relation to your worth or anything like that.
Yes, there might be like an injury involved where your hymen is no longer intact.
Right. But something tiny sense. Like this is a normal regular tampon with applicator is not going to remove your hymen either, if that's a concern. So let's just talk about how we insert tampons, because I know you're probably thinking we need to get moving on this, so we will keep moving because there's a lot to say. So this is what lots of folks find the most comfortable. This is a regular tampon with plastic applicator. And how we would use that, this is our lovely crocheted model. Okay, so I really like this. And so we just insert to where you can feel you're right in the edge here. And then we just push in like this. And then we remove everything. Whoopsies. Remove everything. And that will stay in, and we're left with the string out like that. So that's easy. So it just sits in there. Your tampon is like a little, it just absorbs. So it's an internal absorber. And then between 3 to 5 hours, usually depending on your flow and the size of tampon. And then you just go back to the toilet is the easiest, and you gently pull out. And then so some, if they're biodegradable organic, they can go in the toilet. Otherwise, again, you should have in every stall, you can wrap it up in a little toilet paper if you want to. Some of them come with a little baggie you can put them in and just dispose in that there. So that's easy. And there are many, many styles. So that's with applicator.
This one is without.
This is without. So
this
instead of
you to be a bit more comfortable with your body. So you take the string and you kind of open up the base a little bit, and then you insert. Generally the instructions are to insert up to your second
digit?
Knuckle.
Knuckle, yep.
Right? So then it goes in like that. It sits in the same place as an applicator, but this is a good guideline. And then for removal, same thing. You pull the string and it comes out and you can dispose of it.
So do they have, are there different thicknesses for people who flow heavier or lighter? Or?
Totally. Everything from extra small, so for someone who has never used a tampon before, there's very, very tiny ones, to super, super plus. It's recommended, though, to really not go above super, and then just change your tampon more often, or maybe add a panty liner or a menstrual underwear. The larger they are, the more risk there seems to be to TSS, or toxic shock syndrome.
Okay.
Although we hear a lot less about toxic shock, I think it's likely due to better materials that we use and better education. But we don't want to leave a tampon in more than, I believe it's like 6 hours. Changing more frequently leads to better outcomes with that, for sure. And just being aware of your body.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that that I heard, and again, it's in my generation, is that you shouldn't take many baths when you're menstruating.
I think that's just not true.
I know, but
I think that's similar to you shouldn't have a bath because you'll drown your baby when you're pregnant.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a good thing to get those things out, that they're just
right.
old wives' tale, or old men's tale.
I mean, to me, we didn't talk a lot about sort of symptoms during menstruation, but because of hormone changes and things like that, we can feel different things in our bodies, from headaches to mood changes to cramps and pain. A hot bath is definitely one of the things that can make a person feel a lot better when they have some of those symptoms. So I would highly recommend that bathing is a lovely thing to do when we're feeling exhaustion or any of those things that might come along. So those are our more typical products. Nowadays, we have biodegradable organic options in all of those things. So all of the sizes of pads and all types of tampons. We love Joni. Joni's a Canadian brand that we work with a lot. They're amazing with menstrual equity. These
they also have an applicator and applicator-free tampon.
And they're all organic biodegradable bamboo products, very light and small. They feel wonderful. They work well. No toxic chemicals, dyes, fragrances, but very the efficacy, but also the what am I trying to say? They work really well. So our product reviews on them are amazing.
Very good.
Also, the bamboo makes them really comfortable. If you see us at a booth out in the community, I generally have one of these open so you can touch it, and they're really they're so much
very
less,
user friendly.
They're so much
I never
less
even heard of
plasticky.
that.
That's right.
before.
Yeah, they're really nice.
Like we usually have samples, and people will be like, "Oh, I don't really need menstrual products right now."
That's
but then
not,
I'll
you
say,
know,
"Hey, that's
I'll use a panty liner, especially if I'm traveling.
Right.
Because I don't menstruate anymore,
Yeah,
but
but it's
still,
just-
you know, sometimes you just don't get to the bathroom right away. It's a little leaky.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we're not talking a lot about incontinence today, but menstruation and incontinence, these things go hand in hand with being human.
Right. Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
so a nice, safe panty liner is a great thing to do to feel safe and fresh and confident all day long sometimes, and that's wonderful. It's nice to have options, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So let's talk about, so those are our typicals. Let's get into some of our more sustainable reusables. A lot of these are Alina's jam, for sure. Alina is a sewist, a master sewist, by the way, and sewed us
Okay,
our
cool.
outfits. So she's very, very passionate about our reusables. So let's talk a little bit about those.
Yes. So there are a number of brands on the market. These are from Isle. Do they give us NGO pricing? I think?
Yes, and they
And
were one of
so-
the first. It took us a little while, but they give us, and they do wonderful donations, and they're also a company that works a lot with period equity, menstrual equity.
Yeah.
What was
And they're
the name?
Canadian. Isle, so AISLE, and you would find them at theperiodisle.com.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And so they have a range of styles for varying body types and comfort levels. So these are the thong style. They have the absorbent section right here.
So something like a thong style would be for a really light day, beginning or end of your period, but you just want a little bit of protection. It's really nice that they have this range of products for various needs. Yeah.
This is the bikini style. These ones are really nice because they come with kind of a booster pad. So it's removable. So some people like to start the day without it and then they add it. And some people like to start with it in and then they'll remove it. And there's another layer of absorbent here.
And you can have extra boosters, so you could remove the booster and put in a fresh one. So you can those menstrual underwear can last you all day.
Very nice.
Which is really nice. Yeah.
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 Same with the boxers. They have the removable booster. The boxers are really nice for sleeping, actually, or if you're really active. At Project AIM, we believe in inclusion as well. So there are some people who are more comfortable with boxers as like for dysphoria reasons. It comes down to dignity and choice.
Yeah. And we want to provide menstrual products across the board for all abilities, for all bodies, for all genders who need them, to really show you there is something that will work for you.
Right. One of the things that, just while you're getting those things out of there, I forgot to ask is like, we menstruating starting at, like you said, normally like tweens.
Totally, yeah.
And until your 40s, 50s, and some people for even later. So that's a lot of product.
It's a lot of product.
It is.
It's a lot of menstruating. And our needs might change throughout our years, right? As a tween, I might have needed something different than postpartum, or if I get into different activities. So it's really nice to see there is definitely something that will serve your body and your needs.
Yes. This is another company that we buy a lot of things from. They are called Period Company. Okay, so I'm going to start with. So these are the same, similar to the other ones. These ones have their absorbent built right in. So if you. This is the style that I wear with the absorbent built right in. I just change my underwear in the middle of the day because I can do that, and it's convenient for me.
Right.
So this is the bikini style of that.
And in the Period Company, they have light to medium absorption and medium to heavy, and we tend to carry the medium to heavy if we can, because then it's just safer for folks throughout the day.
Right.
But there is options for sure.
Now, you offer these products free, correct?
Correct.
To people who normally wouldn't be able to afford them. Right?
Yeah, or just maybe they're afraid to try, or they can't access them for a variety of reasons. Sometimes even religious, their household is uncomfortable with them using a tampon, but they need it for sports. So we never say no to anybody who needs products, and we don't ask questions other than how can we help you.
Right.
And so I did want to mention that this is a very shortened menstrual education session, but we also offer these for free. So if you have an organization or a group of people that you would like to come and learn more about menstruation, and see and touch these products for yourself, and we give them all away at the end, you can book us to come and do those.
Yeah, very good.
Yes, and also we like to have these education sessions there as an opportunity for people to be able to come and touch and feel a cup if they haven't had the opportunity to. For Health Canada reasons, a lot of the time, if you buy some like a menstrual related product, you won't be able to return it, and you don't want to spend a bunch of money on something and then it arrives and you go, I'm not comfortable with this.
And these sustainable products, although you can reuse them and over time the cost is cut down, the initial cost is high.
Right.
And so that's another reason why we really like to give away these sustainable products, is because then people don't have to feel afraid of the cost. And over time they are then supplied with products without having to purchase every single month.
Very good.
How's our timing?
Oh, sorry, I'm just kidding. I get messages on my phone.
Okay, no problem. Just wanting to make sure we're okay.
I don't know what time we started. I think if we started on time, we got another 5-10 minutes if you want.
Perfect. Yeah.
You can always come back too.
Sounds good.
So I'll just show you all of our different styles. So this is the bikini. These are similar, but they are high waisted.
Okay.
So if you're a body type that prefers your underwear to sit higher up.
I also find like if you're a bit crampy, that the little bit of support on that day is quite nice. It's like a hug.
Yeah.
Yes. So these are the boxers. Again, this is a sleeping pair. of boxers. So again, they have the absorbent goes all the way to the top, so that when you're laying
Oh,
down,
that's really
it is
good.
right.
Oh, yeah.
And then also these are a little bit higher waisted,
Okay.
so that
Those
there's more
sleepers are
coverage.
pretty. You can full bleed on a
Yeah.
heavy night in those sleepers.
Where
and
were
just,
you guys when I was young?
Right?
It's really nice.
So these are our adaptive, or period companies adaptive. So they're for example, wheelchair users. So you can Velcro it open
Wow.
to get it on and off.
Excellent.
Oh, and I just want to talk a little bit about sizing too. So in most of our types of underwear, we go extra small to 6XL. So we try to be very inclusive in our size ranges as well.
Yes.
That's really important.
I just want to say, but I want to throw this in here. Well, again, a little off the topic, but ladies, don't douche. You should not use a
Yes.
douche. They're not healthy.
Right.
People don't know that.
Our vaginas have a very specific pH that keeps it really healthy, and people say it's self-cleaning, and that's why there's discharge and all kinds of things. When we start adding chemicals and fragrances and perfumes and soaps, it can really disrupt the right balance and create everything we don't want it to create. Infections, yeast and bacteria growth, all this sort of stuff, and that in turn can create smells and things that we actually don't want. So we're actually doing the opposite of what we might think.
Right.
We didn't talk about it, but we should. One of the things we generally recommend avoiding if you can is scented pads or scented tampons for exactly the reason that you're talking about. We do always have a small supply for people who, if that is their absolute comfort zone, but there is dangers to using scented products on all of our bodies, but especially ones that are super absorbers, right?
Right, absolutely, yeah.
And so we also carry a variety of reusable pads. These are they're just like cloth diapers. You can use it and then remove it, and then it goes right into the laundry.
Right.
I have a little cloth diapering bag that hangs by my toilet, and they just all go in there.
So instead of diapers, they're pads.
Yeah, exactly. And then so these ones have a conventional wing style. These ones are more of a diagonal shape, so when you fold it over, it protects more of the edge of your underwear. These are the reusable pads from the same period company. And so they're a little bit bigger at the back, so you get a little butt coverage. These are a lovely donation that we just received from a community member. Look at them; they're so cute.
They're really nice, lovely
with the
material.
little tab style wings.
So again, a variety of sizes and shapes depending on what your needs might be. And when we give menstrual underwear or pads away, we tend to give away a set, right? Because one pad is not going to help somebody, but 6 or 8
it'll
will
make a difference. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So then you can wash them and you have them for your whole cycle.
Right,
That might be. And then I think that leads us to our last kind of exciting part of what we give away, which are our internal collectors. So that's menstrual cups and menstrual discs. Oh, I did want to mention, this is something to mention, because people who have maybe never tried a tampon and have some fear around it, or how, one of the things we mention is water-based lubricant is wonderful for lots of things to do with menstruation. And one of them is for putting on a tampon. Just put a little bit on and it'll slide in much easier.
Oh, nice.
So a lot of people are never have thought of it.
No,
right?
yeah.
So that's one thing, and then wonderful for insertion of our internals, so cups and discs. So menstrual cups have been around for quite some time. We carry generally these 2 brands, so one from Isle, one from Be Free, which is my new favorite thing to talk about because it's quite different. And so the basics are, so they should have some food grade silicone or medical grade silicone, which makes them really safe and makes them nice and flexible and pliable, right? This is an Isle cup. They come in 2 sizes, so basically a small medium and a medium large. And so as you can see, it's just like a little collector.
Okay. So how does it work?
Okay, so there's a variety of ways to put it in, because you think, how is this going to go in there, right? So the easiest way is the C fold like this, so that it becomes pretty small. Some people roll. There's actually like 6 or 7 different ways of doing a fold. There's a punch down. For me, this is the easiest. So again, I would suggest either in the shower, where it's nice and warm already and there's some lubrication naturally. You want to use these on a day where you have like medium to heavy flow. Don't practice before you're menstruating. Like that's just too dry. Okay. Or use lots of lube. So like this, and then so this is our nice little demo model here. So just aim up. As it goes inside, it's going to open, and it just sits as a collector inside.
Right, so it hugs your cervix a little bit.
Wow.
So very cool. These are safe to leave in for up to 12 hours.
Nice.
So that's really nice because they're not absorbing, and so you don't have vaginal fluid in your body. It's inside. So you have the food grade or the medical grade silicone against your body. And then when you're done, you just bear down a little bit. You want to break the seal. So a finger in breaks the seal because they're actually suctioned in there a little bit.
Okay.
And then you can just pull down gently and then refold, and then it comes out. Oop, and then dump.
All right.
Rinse.
I was just going to
water.
say, but at first you're going to have trouble if you've never used them. I'm just thinking I can just see myself pulling it out and getting it everywhere.
You know, it takes probably a couple cycles to get really comfortable with the usage. And then once you do, it's very easy.
And you just need to rinse them, as you said.
Just rinse. Yeah. So with many cups, you will boil once.
Okay.
And then boil between cycles.
Okay.
Okay. And then just I use a nice warm water rinse and back in. So the thing you have to think about with cups and internals is like, is there an available washroom?
Right.
So like, when are you going to need to change it?
Right.
What I find if I'm going out on a heavy day with one of these is I'll wear either a reusable pad or menstrual underwear as backup, just in case I'm out and about and there's nowhere where I can rinse it properly.
Okay.
Or I kind of plan my day around it just slightly.
And most of the brands come with a little carry pouch, so you can...
So cute.
This Be Free, I really, really like this Be Free for a couple of reasons. As a horseback rider, I find the stem of a cup a little bit uncomfortable in the vaginal canal, where this doesn't have it. It has a little one, but it's much more comfortable, although you can cut these off. This is made so it does not create a biofilm, so these never need boiling. So this is the first cup up out there that never needs boiling. Plus they have a really tiny size. This is the size A size. They have, in Canada, we have 2 sizes, so A and B. I think in the States up to 4 sizes. They also have, I don't know if you can see it, but they have these little
dents.
Divots in them, so very easy to break the seal. So you don't need to use a finger to break the seal with these ones. Just a little squeeze will break the seal.
Now, when you say break the seal, you talk about the suction, right?
Inside, to take it out, and then otherwise it's the same. So these are new, and as a horseback rider, approved, and nothing really was approved before that too well. And then the last thing we want to talk about, this is a menstrual disc.
Okay.
So this one sits in the vaginal canal, as we saw. This is a little bit different. So again, becomes very, very tiny to insert, if you can see that.
Yep.
Very small. So pinches this way. You can use luber in the shower. And then this one goes in here, and there's a spot that sits under the cervix. So you don't want it sitting in the vaginal canal like that, because you're basically creating like a spout. So that does not work. So you need to tuck it in, and a little tuck. So this goes behind your pubic bone. And this sits underneath the cervix and collects all the fluid, and it is entirely out of the way. This is the only menstrual product that is good to use. You can have it during intercourse. You can have it during intercourse.
Okay.
So that's kind of handy, and it's really right up out of the way. So it takes a little more practice to use, because you do have to be willing to put a finger in and do a little tuck, and then the taking out is a little pinch out and pour, kind of the same thing. Right. You need to be quite comfortable with your body. So often people go tampon, menstrual cup, menstrual disc in terms of comfort and just usability, but once you can do one, you can generally do the other. For the folks this works for, it's magic. So again, as a horseback rider and athlete, I can have this in for 10, 12 hours. I do not feel it at all. And they're great, very comfortable to have.
And ladies, there's nothing wrong with touching yourself, you know,
That's right.
putting your finger, if you have to use your finger. Nothing wrong with that.
That's right. That's right. So that's a little bit about the range. Do you have any other questions for us, Nancy?
Well, no. I mean, I'm just so fascinated by everything. And again, I resent the fact that none of this was around when I was menstruating. But I'm so glad that these products are available. Now, here's just the thing. If anybody needs to get a hold of you, what's the best way to do that?
So we're on all the socials at Project AIM Community, projectaimcommunity.com, projectaimcommunity@gmail.com, or you can actually just call or text us directly, and that's 604-889-2235. We are very passionate about menstrual education for all ages and all people, and we would love to come and do some of these sessions with you in your groups. So please contact us.
Yeah, please contact. And thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you so much, Nancy. As always, you support our community in ways that are immeasurable.
I'm trying. Okay, thanks, everybody. Well, you can't see me, but I'm here. So bye for now. And and just, by the way, share this video with your friends. So it's important for everybody to be able to see it. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Thank
Take care.
A sense of community, till the wax a place to be. A sense of community when you're free. Rolling through the mountains, rolling through the valley, rolling through paradise with me. It's multicultural, you're sure to see it all. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see. Come party in the park, go dancing after dark. Chilliwack's the place to be, you'll see.